and we have targets to contain our temperatures over the next decade or 2 decades within 1 degree centigrade or 1.5 degrees centigrade. And with the current strategies that we have a toss-up chance, maybe a 50% chance of achieving these goals. Not even. 50% chance. 50% chance of what? 50% chance of many such girls getting washed away. 50% chance of pregnant women who get displaced, dying because they can't get care. 50% chance of schools getting washed away. 50% chance of civilizations worth thousands of years just evaporating like 3/4 of Sindh was just washed away. So all of those things that were theories are theories no more. What we have done to the environment, we're now facing the consequences. I'm reminded there was a professor who was writing and the chalk fell from his hand. He said, "Damn gravity." Then he bent down, he picked the chalk up, he looked at the class and he said, "But you know what? Gravity doesn't care." So ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, gravity is not going to care. Every time you will let go of the chalk, it shall fall. So let's make sure and let's hope that this time we don't let the chalk fall. We are a great country and there are other great countries. A big chunk of my life was in North America, where people put rover on Mars. And in European technologies, you go around and you're fascinated. You walk across Europe and it's like Alice in Wonderland. You go to China and you're baffled at the speed and the pace at which things are changing. And then I ask myself that even as great a nation as we have, a nuclear power or a number of other things that we have, it didn't cross our mind that a young toddler should be able to walk up, open at the tap and drink a glass of water. Really? Drink a glass of water? Our urban water is unsafe. It's infested with fecal waste. We get these floods and then nothing is left, nothing remains. The sewer, the sewage, the drinking water, it all becomes one. And we have no mitigation, we have no resilience. In 2024, after 10,000 years of civilization, there are kids dying because of waterborne diseases. There are women dying because they can't get care in the process of giving birth, in the process of bringing life to this world, they lose their life. Look at the infant mortality numbers. Look at the child mortality numbers. Look at the school enrollment numbers. Look at the school completion numbers. Look at any numbers. They don't make sense. And they certainly don't make sense to me. Do we have solutions? Of course we have solutions. We have renewable energy, and we have instructed all of our petroleum companies to have renewable subsidiaries. Every one of them. The board resolutions have been passed. The companies have been created. They're all going to become energy the companies, and they're going to be renewable energy companies over a period of time. So yes, there are solutions. There's also solutions for our coastal communities, for reforestation. Of course there are solutions. There are solutions in terms of electronic vehicles as well. There are solutions about water treatment so that the water is not infested with industrial waste. There are solutions about maintaining sustainable water ecology. There are solutions about green urea. There are solutions about green hydrogen. There are solutions about carbon capture and carbon recycling. There are solutions and there are solutions and there are solutions and there are solutions. But they're all fragmented. If you look at all of these solutions, what is one thing that you don't find? You don't find holistically the face of that young girl. You've not been able to humanize We're always talking about these technical solutions and scientific solutions. How about human solutions? And I think those are the most important solutions that we need to bring forth in these climate conferences. I think injustice, as I said, is unsustainable. All of these things that we're talking about, climate financing and so on and so forth, 85% of all of this financing is going to 3 regions: Europe, North America, and China. How fair is that? Where is justice there? I'll give you a real example. I mean, just about a few years ago, we were very reluctantly moving on coal, very reluctantly, because the world was telling us that we are all interwoven in one global fabric, we are part of the same fabric. And then all of a sudden, the geopolitical plates shifted. We had wars, energy prices went up, a $35 million cargo of LNG became $165 million. And we looked at the rest of the world and we said, hey, what about us? And they said, what about you? Go figure out. Well, were we not a part of one global fabric? Should we not figure out? But the truth is that the countries have to figure out. So we had to figure out. And then we found that some countries in Europe opened up their coal mines and they started to produce electricity again from coal. And I continue to wonder, well, our coal is black, certainly. What color is that coal? So as, again, I would say, even at the geopolitical sense, in that context, injustice is not sustainable. So finally, I'd be remiss if I don't recall why I began to think about these things. I was in Washington, D.C. I was at a meeting, and the meeting got cancelled. This was in the 1990s, around the year 2000. And I went to Smithsonian, and I went to the Museum of Natural History. And I walked in where all the dinosaurs are. I went in there. And the complicated name, everything finishes with some saurus. And I walked around and finally found a very unimpressive dinosaur, the size of an elephant, not the huge ones, very impressive ones. And I looked down and it said existed, whatever the name was, existed about 250 million years ago. 250 million freaking years. I tried to imagine 250 million years and I couldn't. 100 years, 1,000 years, 100,000 years, a million years, and then time became non-linear. It was almost like a black box of time from which all of a sudden around a couple of 100 years ago, time started to become linear for me. 250 million years ago, I looked at that dinosaur and I said, this creature existed. And I looked into the hollows of its eyes, and I wondered if 250 million years ago this dinosaur stood where I'm standing and looked at the dinosaurs of its own times into the hollows of their eyes. So the nature is not going to care. You muck around with it, you'll become a dinosaur. So I would just say at the end that I remember the eyes of that dinosaur, but were they also reflective of that sadness in that girl's eyes by Abdullah Shahbazi? I wonder. I wish we have answers. I hope we have answers. And we have a resolve to push those answers forward. Thank you very much for your attention.
वफाकी वज़ीर पेट्रोलियम मुसद्दिक मलिक का रिचार्ज पाकिस्तान मंसूबे की इस्लामाबाद में इफ्तिताही तकरीब से खिताब। उन्होंने कहा कि हमारे पास तवानाई के मुतबादिल ज़राए मौजूद हैं। माहौलियाती तब्दीलियों से निपटने के लिए बैनुल अक़वामी सतह पर मरबूत ताउन की ज़रूरत है। दुनिया तेज़ी से तरक्की कर रही है। हमारा मुल्क वसाइल से माला माल है। पाकिस्तान का शुमार मौसमियाती तब्दीली में सबसे ज़्यादा मुतासरा मुल्कों में होता है। न्यूज़ स्टूडियो से फिल वक्त इतना ही।